you're bound to sleep soundly at the new look Des Kelly Interiors.
A dry and cool night with long clear spells and lowest temperatures ranging 1 to 5 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
This is News Talk.
You're very welcome along to Thursday night's Off the Ball. It's Richie McCormick here with you until 10 o'clock tonight. Busy night ahead, and we will be over to Le Golf National for the first time this week. The first pairings are known for tomorrow morning's action at the Ryder Cup. We'll get reaction to that from Jamie Donaldson and Andrew Cotter just after 8 o'clock with our pair over in Paris. Also on the way, in a week of managerial fallings out with players, some public, some not so public, we'll be joined by John Giles after 7:30. We'll get the lay of the land from Germany with Rafa Honigstein on a day Germany was actually awarded the hosting rights for Euro 2024, and we'll see how Bayern and Dortmund have been getting on, and indeed Schalke on their faltering start to the 2018-19 season even, and lots more besides. Bit of Spain, bit of football chat, and Dan McDonnell and Phil Egan are joining us in the studio at the moment. Hi Richie. Evening gents. Essentially me and Phil are acting as Jim Furyk and Thomas Bjorn tonight, yeah.
Who's Bjorn? Who's Furyk?
I'd say probably I'm Furyk because I've got the more angular nose and you're Thomas Bjorn.
Do people even have strong opinions on Furyk or Bjorn's character or personality yet? They haven't really formed. They're not really divisive captains, unlike sort of Faldo and his, Faldo is the low bar, I think, isn't he?
Or a kind of there's no.
Who did Faldo bring in to give the speech, or he had his own DJ, didn't he, or something?
Did he? Is it like Pete Tong or something?
He brought in one of these sort of
Fatboy Slim.
No, definitely not. It was more like a bit more sort of Radio 1 vibe off who it was. What's it? DJ
Bruno Brooks.
I mean, that would be a much better story.
That's gotten a ripple of laughter.
Wasn't Chris Evans, I'm trying to think.
That's kind of aged both of you there by mentioning Bruno Brooks and it getting a laugh.
Yeah. Just think of the mullet.
We kind of know what age you are now. But yeah, it's
Pat Sharp.
Pat Sharp.
Yeah.
That's a mullet you can really set your watch.
You could see him fitting into a team room environment pretty well, to be honest,
Yeah. Anytime I think of one of those team room speeches.
Locker room, Richie.
Locker room, sorry. Was Captain Bjorn or Captain Spoonie likes his golf actually.
Yeah, he does.
I think it was him. It was him.
Was it Spoonie? Or he kind of was. We're here from outside from Paul. It was actually DJ Spoonie.
Yeah.
Why they didn't?
Again, the fact that we're shrugging our shoulders at that and kind of going, Bruno Brooks, great. Yeah.
Faldo called it all wrong from the start.
He did. That and a whole lot more. But anytime I think of one of those locker room, team room meetings, I think of David Brent giving the motivational speech at the night out with his jeans and his t-shirt going, come on guys, let's get it together. We're going to do this for Europe, we're going to do this for the United States.
And then he leaves the room in a sort of a big entrance and the cleaner comes in.
The best. Yeah, that's it for me. Good night everybody. But yeah, we're all good to go. We're going to be crossing live. Sure, we'll do that now, why don't we? Crossing live to our dynamic duo who are already set fair in Paris, Nathan Murphy and a man, it's a guest. This has been a while, Joe Malloy.
Yeah, great. It's I'm sure you talked to Nathan last night. I was blown away by the course and the setup. I know it's been much repeated all week, but the size of the infrastructure here, 6,500 people at that first tee is going to be really, really unbelievable, considering there were 1,600 at Gleneagles or Hazeltine 2 years ago and 2,000 at Gleneagles 4 years before that. So that side of things is brilliant. The weather is beautiful. Blue skies, I'd say it was 25, 26, 27 degrees today. It was really warm, no wind. There were 40,000 people in today. There are going to be 50,000 plus in each day. And we have our opening 4 matches and they're really, really tasty. So honestly, I know it's been a quiet week and we haven't had, some of the fun storylines or feuds or controversies that have happened in previous Ryder Cups. But I really do think come tomorrow, we are actually going to get one of the great Ryder Cups. Everything is set up for it. And we're kicking off with Koepka and Finau versus Rose and Rahm tomorrow. And we finish up with Tiger and Patrick Reed versus Molinari and Fleetwood. And in between that, you've Johnson Fowler against McIlroy, Olesen, and Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas against Paul Casey and Hatton. So, right from tomorrow morning, I think this thing is going to go into overdrive now. It's this very slow, horrible build-up in some respects, full of speculation and very little information. And now from tomorrow, it goes 100 miles an hour. So, in short, Richie, I am great.
Nathan, if the players didn't have a sense of what was coming their way over the course of the next 3 days, they sure did today when they walked out on that stage. That crowd was pretty pumped and ready for action. And the place was packed, I noticed, far more packed than any opening ceremony I can remember.
Well, everything here has been done with theatre in mind. So the opening ceremony the stage and the setup, it was built in like an amphitheater, like you would have at a 3 Arena, where you just had 40,000 people deep, squashed in together, the merchandising tents all around. So there was nowhere to go. It wasn't just a big open field, say, like we had at Glen Eagles 4 years ago. I think they'll have got a good sense as well of the atmosphere this morning when they went out in their final practice session, because, again, the main stand was probably half full. It was getting raucous. The second the Europeans start chanting, that's all the American supporters need to get into their USA, USA. And then you get a few little comments here and there, and suddenly the players are getting involved. And I think that final pairing tomorrow, like, that is the group that everyone is going to wait for. Nobody's going to leave that opening tee for 7:10 for Rose and Ram or for McIlroy and Olesen. Everyone's going to wait for Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed. Even the atmosphere of having to tee off with all that noise is so different to a regular golf tournament. Patrick Reed today, he didn't wait for silence because it simply wasn't going to come. There was people roaring and shouting, and he just stepped up on that first tee in the practice round and hit it straight down the middle of the fairway with all that water down the left-hand side staring him out of it. This is going to be a different Ryder Cup as well, as I think, because generally Ryder Cup courses are easy, that they're set up to be a birdie fest for cheers, for the birdies, for being able to get a little bit of momentum. This is going to be quite grueling. This is going to be a course, I think, where it's more about mistakes and players dropping shots. And actually, I think that can make it a lot more tense, because if you make a mistake and people in the crowd start jeering you and start making smart remarks, players can bite back pretty quickly.
Joe, most of the receptions today were quite polite. There's a lot of pantomime stuff that surrounds Patrick Reed, but I was genuinely interested at the mixed reception that Tiger Woods received. There was a smattering, and a very vocal smattering of boos in amongst the cheers that greeted the Tour Championship winner.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. Because
thanks, Joe.
Being there, that was not our sense at all. So it's interesting that came across on television. Maybe there's just some speakers who happen to be near some very small, a very small amount. The one of the great moments already of this week, and I appreciate not everyone loves Tiger Woods for various reasons as a human being, but one of the great moments was Jim Furyk, who, by the way, gave a really brilliant speech and talked about the links between France and America going back years. Talked about, they came through world wars together and went back to American Revolution, and the Statue of Liberty is going to be on all the American bags this week. It was a gift from France, obviously. He was one step away from saying sorry about our president, and he's not going to be around forever. These speeches generally are a bit forgettable, but
there was a lot of that.
Really good.
Furyk's was very statesmanlike from the United States point of view, and I know Thomas Bjorn lent a lot on European unity, which kind of goes against the grains for both the political salvos for both.
And for golf, we don't get it in golf. I mean, look, Thomas Bjorn is voting Remain, and I'm interested to see which way Furyk is voting in the midterms. But back to Tiger for a second. Furyk finishes his speech the way every captain finishes the speech, which is they go through each of the players. From Texas, we have Bryson DeChambeau. So he was first, alphabetical order. I mean, writing your own script and everything. Who's last but Tiger Woods? Nathan and I followed Woods for a couple of holes this morning, and he was with Spieth and Reed, and who was the other one?
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas.
So big players, world number ones and everything. Everybody was just about Tiger. It was like, ooh la la, Tiger, we love you. All the French, because I think nearly half the spectators this week are going to be French.
Right.
And not a huge golf country, but they know who Woods is, and they love Tiger Woods. But anyway, so it was kind of we knew he was going to get a good reception based on the morning practice, but it was building to Woods, the 11 players, and Phil Mickelson got a big cheer, and then it was, Spieth got a pretty good cheer, and then it was Reed got pantomime boos, and it got to Woods, and it was, I would say, a 90-second standing ovation. He was the only player that all the dignitaries in front of us, we were kind of a quarter of the way back in the media viewing section, all the dignitaries in front of us all stood up, and the 40,000 people wedged in there lost their minds. It was 90 seconds of applause and cheering, and then it morphed into an effort to get Tiger going. He stood there pretty awkwardly. No, we didn't. The only person I clapped was Steve Stricker, my hero. It's a whole different problem. But honestly, the Woods reception there, I mean, I think Nathan agreed. I think it's definitely one of the moments of the week. I mean, it'll obviously pale into insignificance as the week goes on, and we kind of forget it. But certainly today, that was my big takeaway from today, Nathan. It's about Woods today.
Come here to me. Who have you got on later on tonight?
Richie.
Sorry,
Richie. I was just going to say my big takeaway was that Joe Malloy thought the French golfing public were saying, "Ooh la la, Tiger Woods." I mean, that's the most stereotypical thing I've ever heard anyone ever say.
They were. That is a fact, Richie. That is a fact. I'll stand over that.
Please don't go buying berets in the gift shop and stripy t-shirts and all that. I think you're maybe slightly above all that. I'm not even too sure, but just slightly. Come here, before you go, who have you got on for us later on tonight?
We have got Jamie Donaldson, who was the hero of 4 years ago, hold the winning putt. He didn't have to hold the putt in the end, but he was in the winning match against Keegan Bradley. He's going to join us, and we're also going to have Andrew Cotter of the BBC. Is going to add a touch of class to proceedings.
Yeah, much needed class is going to be added to proceedings over there from you pair at Le Golf National. We'll let you get back to putting baguettes in your back pockets and rings of garlic around your neck as you continue on your stereotypes there. Nathan Murphy and Joe Malloy live from Le Golf National. Thank you for now. And indeed, all of our Ryder Cup coverage is brought to you in association with Now TV. Only pay for the days you want and stream all 10 Sky Sports channels with the Now TV Sky Sports Pass. The first pairings are out there. We pumped, we ready to go as Joe and Nathan are over there.
What a pairing that is as well. I didn't want to cut in there, but like Joe wearing a t-shirt he hasn't really got into the I thought the golf press at golf tournaments wear like golf clothes
and shoes included.
Yeah, he's sort of slumming it.
I'm certain he's got shoes on.
Like full
Soft
kit
spikes.
golf clothes basically, and he's there in his t-shirt. It's a bit of disrespect really towards the Ryder Cup from Joe.
How would you view them as a pairing if they were going out in the morning? Who's going to be the one who's like ready to go, fist pumping and driving the ball along?
Nathan will do that. Joe will be more methodical. Like, imagine if Joe was a professional golfer, how boring his press conferences would be. You're kind of methodically going through his round, He's
the Jordan Spieth.
He would kind of go, number 3, here's what I did. Number 4, here's what I did. It would be appalling stuff.
If he was to base himself, this is a lot of whataboutery, on the PGA Tour, how quickly do you think the GMAC Mid-Atlantic accent would come to Joe Malloy?
What's it, the spring swing or something like that? Give it May, I'd say. It'll definitely be there.
It's a troubling thought to think of Joe Malloy as a professional golfer. We'll probably move on from that as
I am
quickly as
looking forward to the
possibly
Ryder Cup though. It's just all the preamble is the nonsense. Like Vincent Hogan had a good piece in The Independent today, just Bubba Watson and his sort of antics at the press conference yesterday. I think it was banter, I think is what you call it, and like it was golf banter.
I've never heard of banter.
Golf banter.
Perhaps the worst of all banters.
The worst, and the Ryder Cup banter. Like I do enjoy the Ryder Cup, and I think the golf's brilliant, and I sort of preferred it when it was a bit more edge, a bit more. I like Sam Torrance at the side of a green saying, I thought Tom Lehman was a man of God. Like that to me is like, I love that stuff. I have no problem with that, but it seems to have become the week-long event now. There was the celebrity match and all this other stuff. I mean, that is, I can see why it happens because it's a 3-day tournament and they need to make it a week.
There's a lot of money made out of it as well.
But it's exactly, and it's a bit, you have a long lead up in different ways to certain other big events, and I know people are talking about the Lions and stuff like that, and there's all this stuff around it, but actually the fundamental 3 main events, the 3 days, are still very good. And roll on tomorrow in that sense. But I think possibly now it's a bit more sanitised because all the European tour guys are in America all the time as well, spending a lot of time together, and there's no real distance between the characters in any real shape or form at all.
Yeah, there's no sense of foreignness, I guess, about the whole thing.
Well, there used to be an element of, and people laugh the concept of, well, you're with Europe in some ways against USA, and sport-wise, you just pick a team depending on the sport, and you define your border that way, and for golf, it's Europe, that's what we're going to go for. But there was a sense that it was like the European tour against the the US PGA Tour, and no respect in America for these European golfers. But now it's all turned into one big world tour based in America anyway. So it sort of removed any small bit of disrespectful comments about these European unknowns, which always used to be a part of the American arrogance against these humdrum European guys who will play in the Portuguese Masters every other week.
But there is an element of that. If you go through, basically the judgments we can make on this tournament so far are based upon, because we haven't seen these players as a group playing together, etc., etc. So we're just going on paper. And if you look down through it, and it's almost always the case, you look through the American side and you're like, whew, packed with stars there. You look through the Europeans this year and you see your Thorbjorn Olesens and your Tyrrell Hattons and your Francesco Molinaris. You're not as wowed, Phil.
Great team spirit, though. Great team spirit.
Molinari won the Open, you see, and the Americans know him. You see, I think there is a couple like Hatton and Thorbjorn Olesen is going to get all. I was listening to an American preview of it, and they're like, who is this guy? He's lost. He shouldn't be here. He should. It's like he's in the wrong place. But I think, isn't it something like all the top 10 golfers in the world are in it this year or something in terms of the rankings? So it is the golf will generally live up to the hype. There's a lot of sort of snark about the whole rubbish around it, and I sort of understand why it is, because so much of it is nonsense and the ceremony and all that stuff. But the golf itself should be pretty good. It's still actually good event.
Yeah, Richie be all over. Tomorrow morning, 7:10, Richie be there.
I inexplicably wore blue today as well, and I feel dirty for doing so.
Be referring to the European team as us. Come on, we can do it.
We can do it. Just to recap on those morning four-ball pairings. First out at 7:10 Irish time tomorrow morning, Justin Rose and John Ram against Tony Finau and Brooks Koepka. Then it's Rory McIlroy and the aforementioned Thorbjorn Olesen against Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler. Paul Casey and Tyrrell Hatton going up against Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. And then the final match out at 5 to 8 Irish time, I should say, is Francesco Molinari and Tommy Fleetwood taking on Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed. Going back to Olesen and McIlroy, McIlroy was asked after the ceremony this afternoon if he saw himself as somewhat of the senior partner in his pairing with Thorbjorn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily, we're a team, I don't think one's any more important than the other. I actually lost some money to Thorbjorn today, so. But, I think it's a comfortable pairing for both of us. I've played a lot of games against Ricky in the Ryder Cup. Thorbjorn knows Dustin pretty well from the management company they both share, so it's a comfortable grouping. I don't think, I think that, Thorbjorn's talking about being nervous. I think that should settle him down a little bit, but the first tee in a Ryder Cup's always a little different than most others, so it's exciting. It's great to have an opportunity in the first morning to bring a point back for Europe.
There you go, Rory McIlroy bringing it home. Electric Garden, sponsors of the GA Minor Football and Hurling Championships even, are proud to introduce the 2018 Minor Star Awards. They honour the major moments on the pitch and recognise the individual performances throughout the championship season. To celebrate, we're giving you the chance to win €250 each night this week to spend on GA gear. Just identify our non-GA mystery voice who played minor football for Louth with the 2018 Radio Awards happening next Friday, are they? He reckons Off the Ball's Tommy Welsh is nailed on to win Best Newcomer.
I've been as impressed as anyone else of some of the stuff he's done, over the last couple of months.
Yeah, he really did make a mark in the summer.
I've been as impressed as anyone else of some of the stuff he's done, over the last couple of months.
If you think you know who that is, text your name and your answer to 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce the winner later on in the show. It's all with thanks to Electric Ireland, sponsor of the GA Minor Championships. This is major. And the Minor Star Awards themselves are on at Croke Park this Saturday. It is the culmination of Electric Ireland's This Is Major campaign. Michael Fennelly, one of the judges for the awards, he was in studio a couple of days ago with myself and says when it comes to selections, there were a few animated discussions between himself and his fellow judge, Ollie Canning.
Yeah, without a doubt. I have to look at it from his point of view and I have to potentially agree what he says maybe. And
he's a strong personality we've noticed before when we've had him on.
Ollie?
Yeah, just a little bit. If he has an opinion, he's sticking to it.
That's a Galway lads for you now.
But overall, it's a really well balanced team of the year. We're looking at this as well, and you look at it and there's no weak points there. There's no point that you'd look and think this midfield is really weak, or this midfield is kind of a chink in it. And the spread of teams as well. When you see Dublin having two members in there as well, Colin O'Neill and the Limerick side of things getting in there too. I mean, it's nicely balanced amongst the sides at the later stages.
Exactly, and look, it's a small little kind of token of how they played this year, and some players might have underperformed this year and they'll get their chance then maybe 18, 19, and just because you're not making this team or not making the Kilkenny team, Kilkenny minor team, there's still a chance you can actually develop and get better. And some players they spring at different times, and that's really important.
My worry is for you is that the All-Star judging panel is usually like a closed book. We don't necessarily know who's on it from year in and year out. You and Canning have two big arrows pointing over your heads. So you might, when you go to this awards night, basically have a gang of lads who weren't on the team going, all right, Mick, what did I do wrong exactly to not get on here? And you're like, you could just be like, I had you in there, he didn't. Is that the kind of
Ollie be getting behind the finger at Ollie. Exactly.
There you go, Mick Fennelly speaking ahead of the Electric Ireland Minor Star Awards. Speaking of strong opinions, Dan McDonnell, I'm going to force you to possibly stick up for or not your esteemed colleague, and I use that term loosely, Johnny Ward, who was in here the other night.
Esteemed colleague a lot of times.
Well, you might say that, I couldn't possibly comment. He, I don't want to say ripped into Dundalk, because that's not actually true. He just offered an opinion on Dundalk's season.
He's trying to shift some of the blame to you, Richie, as well. Have you seen this?
Let him. What's he said?
Oh, he said you led him into it with your questioning.
I led him into nothing. He danced in there merrily.
Yeah, I think. Well, for people who aren't maybe aware that you said something about Michael Duffy and Patrick Hooban's seasons have levelled off a small bit, and Johnny sort of leaned back in his chair and like, yeah, no, exactly. And Patrick Hooban then took to Twitter yesterday morning to basically question who this Johnny Ward character is.
Who is he? Who is this guy?
Who is Johnny Ward? He's just using this for he's using this as a platform for followers and for love and affection, or just notoriety. And Johnny's he's got 2 days of it now. I mean, it just seems a bit unfair at this stage. But of course, he's taken it pretty well while also claiming that you really I brought him there. Yeah.
Have you put that out in the podcast? That I basically
I just think he's thrown you under the bus somewhat, you know. Not he hasn't explicitly gone out there and named you, but he just felt like the questions maybe brought him down a road. He's apologised.
With the crux of, without wanting to add further context to it in an effort to save myself and all this, the crux of it is that it hasn't necessarily been a banner season for the top flight here at home. Cork haven't been the opposition they were in the last couple of years, and then we still have a gap then after Cork down into third and fourth. So...
Yeah, but I think the point would be that Dundalk have won 17 out of the last 18 matches. So
it's not 9 in a row.
They haven't done much wrong, you know. And the 18th match is a game they probably should have won as well. So they've been as good as they've needed to be, without being sensational. And they're not at the level that they were 2 years ago. But I think there's a possibility they're getting back there.
And you'd still fear for UCD in the semi-final.
Yeah, that's Friday. Yeah, you still give them a good game though. But I actually think Dundalk the last month have actually clicked. They actually had a bad month around the European games, and they had a few players missing, and the European campaign this year wasn't great, and that's probably led to the belief that they're not the side that they were. But I think they've been, across the season, their consistency is pretty impressive, and like I think Patrick Hooban has still scored 12 more goals than his closest pursuer in the title race. So I'm not sure if his season has quite levelled off. You know, he's still been scoring pretty consistently. So, but Johnny, yeah, I mean, if anyone sees him, just give him a little pat in the back.
Give him a little hug. He probably needs it. Another man who needs a hug probably is Xherdan Shaqiri, who got an earful from Jurgen Klopp at the end of last night's 2-1 victory for Liverpool, 2-1 victory for Chelsea, pardon me, in the Carabao Cup third round. Here is Jurgen Klopp explaining just why he was giving an earful to the Swiss playmaker.
I spoke about a free kick, the last one, because we wanted to have Mo a bit wider, so pass the ball to Mo. The whole bunch of players was in one direction where we shot the ball then actually, and if we can send Mo in a 1-1 situation, the last situation in the game, it would have been not too bad. And but the boys, maybe it was too loud in the stadium, they didn't hear me anymore, it doesn't make too much sense. What I said there was only about the free kick, nothing else.
Phil, the optics of it last night weren't great.
No, you can do that in the changing room after. Poor El Shaqiri just looked like a little schoolboy, didn't he?
His size didn't help him there. Diminutive is what you call him.
Yeah, it was a terrible free kick. You know, you're thinking just throw one more into the mixer. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp wanted...
Get the big man on the end of it.
Yeah, well, they don't have as many... Like, first Van Dijk wasn't playing, but it was a game that Liverpool should have won. They were in control, then actually took off James Milner. And everyone has talked about how good James Milner has been this season. And it just... Obviously, Hazard came on as well, but Hazard came on and just made a holy show of Jordan Henderson. Henderson was just chasing him around. He got so worked up. He started roaring at the referee at one stage. People are saying that he shouted at the referee, "You belong in the championship." Which I don't know how true.
Lip readers are out, are they?
Yeah. You know the lip readers. They've been busy the last few days.
Some people might suggest the same of Jordan Henderson, but that's, you know.
But I can see why Klopp was pretty annoyed. You know, you've got one last chance. This is what he wanted to be done, and they didn't do it. But yeah, like Klopp is good like that, though. See, Liverpool fans would come away from that thinking, "Oh, look, it just shows how passionate Klopp is." Whereas if young Jose did that now, we'd be making more of it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Jose and Pogba incident with John Giles. That's coming up after 7:30. Dan's going to stick around for the duration for the football show. We're going to be talking Spain. We're going to be talking Germany and that as well, and loads more besides, possibly more on the Liverpool and Manchester United situations. The Newsround has been brought to you this evening with Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with the choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. More from the lads at Le Golf National after 8 as well, but next, John Giles is in studio.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.
The Pat Kenny Show.
There's a lot of superfood talk out there, and it's super rubbish, all of it. And there's nothing to be gained from it.
Just makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, it makes you feel good and makes you feel happy, and that's very important as well.